Future Vision: The Future of Artificial Intelligence and What It Means for Sight Loss, presented by our expert panel on the 25th of January 2024. Future Vision is a series of technology events aimed at people living with sight loss. Future Vision is a collaborative project between 6 local independent sight societies: Sight Advice Speculates in Cumbria, My Sight Knots in Nottingham, Sight Airedale in the Airedale area of North and West Yorkshire, Support for Sight in Mid and West Essex, Sutton Vision in the London Borough of Sutton, and Outlookers in Huddersfield, West Yorkshire.
Good morning, everybody. This is the monthly Future Vision session run by the Rainbow Group, which, as people know, is a collaboration of 4 or 5, is it? I can't remember now, the different sight loss organisations. Today, we're going to have, and I'm Tim, by the way, from Sight Advice South Lakes. Today, we have a sort of a small expert panel of myself, Antony from Sight Airedale, and Graham Marden from Sight and Sound. We're going to do like a position statement of where AI is today, where it's moving into, and we're going to go a bit of where it's going next 2 to 4 years. Okay, so some of this is speculative. I hope you understand that. We can't promise this, but I've been reading some of the top websites, if you like. They're reasonably confident the things we're going to talk about are going to happen in the next 2 to 4 years. So how it's going to work is I'm going to do a bit of a 5 to 10 minute quick background. Antony will do a presentation, and myself, Graham, and Antony will take questions, or we'll just have general discussion for the last 30, 40 minutes and see how it goes. So hopefully we can simulate some discussion. So it's 2024. What have we got so far in the sight loss community around artificial intelligence? Okay, some of this we do know, but let's see what have we got? We've got AI assistants. That's Alexa and Siri and Google. These are quite well known. They've been around a few years now. Most people have got one, had one, don't want one, but they know all about them and they know how to work them. So, but AI assistants are common. They're totally mainstream. So all they will do is improve. So what else do we have? We have smart glasses, whether that's like an Orcam or an Envision or a pen. But we have those kind of devices that call themselves smart, and they're glasses, and they can sort of they attempt to reproduce the external world, whether that's reading and turning text into speech, or whether that's turning sort of objects into speech. But we have smart glasses and we have smart pens. We also have smart canes, and these are sort of, you can walk around, like a WeWalk cane, and some sort of noise or tactile or something will happen to your cane to recognize objects. So we already have that technology at the moment, and we have object recognition apps like Seeing AI. So that's normal. That's been normal for 2 or 3 years now. What's coming on stream now? Well, now we've got the big chatbots, the ChatGPTs and the Claudes and the Bings and all those type of things. These are being incorporated into some of the mainstream stuff that we not mainstream stuff, some of the stuff that we know about. So ChatGPT is already incorporated into Be My Eyes, and we've demonstrated that a few times with Be My AIs, where you can use artificial intelligence to read menus, select which bits of the menu you want to read, ask questions, point it to your fridge, ask it what's in the fridge. We've done this before, and it works quite well already. And Envision, linking up with, and Graham may talk about this later, linking up with ChatGPT. So these smart glasses can do a similar thing of the actual environment. So that is on stream, sort of. Those are the new developments that are happening absolutely as we talk. And if anybody doesn't know, just download Be My Eyes, and you have ChatGPT and all those kind of things that come with it. Right. And here's the interesting thing. Here's what we want to have a chat about today, really. What can we expect in the next 2 to 4 years? What can we expect? Okay. The AI systems, the Alexas and the Googles and the Siris, they will just get better. They will just get better. They're pretty good at the moment, but they'll get better. They'll probably do more thinking, remember more conversations that you've had, and interact in a different way. But they'll just get better. That's just going to happen. Right. The smart glasses. This is the one that's exciting people quite a lot, actually. The smart glasses are great at the moment, but the promise of the new smart glasses is quite incredible. Audio description live of what's going around you, in real time, and recognizing the correct objects, even more important. Not at the moment they're not bad, but I don't think people feel totally safe with them. But the object recognition will get better, the audio will get better, and we're looking. Some stuff will come on stream this year, but 2 to 4 years that will vastly improve. Then we have the robotics. Robotics that can actually physically guide people in the environment. I don't know how this is going to, what it's going to look like, but somebody else might know. But you can have your own robot basically taking you for a walk. That's what we're talking about. I don't know if they're going to be big or small or on your shoes or on your head. I don't know how they're going to work. But these robots can actually guide you. They'll have sensors, they'll have speech, of a type. And that is one of the big things that's coming in the next 2 to 4 years, we think. The robots are already out there. We've seen robot vacuum cleaners and things like that. We know those. It's just an extension of that type of technology, but on a much grander scale. Then we're going to have the widespread availability of Braille and e-readers, powered by better translations. So translation between Braille, the alphabet, words, more automatic, easier. We can do that now, but it's a bit clunky, to be honest with you. And you've got to get the right app and the right device. I believe it's going to be quite fast and quite easy. Again, 2 to 4 years, not today, but on its way. The one, I think the big one, personally, I think that really will happen, everybody on this thing, on this call will get for, it's the advancements on the video and imaging captioning on social media and websites.
It's just technology.
Websites are really difficult on screen readers, to be honest with you. You get lost on them, you go backwards and forwards. I believe some of the new advancements, you'll be able to direct maybe better with your voice and things like that. You won't get caught into these sort of dead alleyways where you can go and all these strange letters, which are, reading out website letters and things like that. Social media at the moment, we have to put captions underneath. A lot of people don't. That will be automatic. Is the core. So when you go down Facebook or Twitter, or whatever, and there's an image, it will just say what it is. It won't be relying on people to write what that image is, making the people who've got sight loss, making websites and social media much easier to use. And I think that'll come in the next year or two, I think. And the absolute massively big one, in many ways for the world, really, it's the progress of autonomous vehicles. And they already have this in San Francisco and parts of America. They already have taxis, which can drop to your door and take you to places. It's already there. But continue, so giving people more independence. But autonomous vehicles, people with sight loss can actually own a car that's theirs, which they can legally drive. So next 2 to 4 years, will we get them in this country? They're already in some parts of the world, America, Japan, for example. Will they be here? I don't know, but they already exist. There's a lot of, as we know, a lot of the things we're talking about have all kinds of ethical issues as well. For example, privacy issues to do with smart glasses, with facial recognition. There's a lot of issues not to do with sight loss on that, to do with facial recognition around the criminal justice system. People just don't actually like the fact that their faces can be recognized, for example. And that will translate into our sector, I'm afraid. We'll, as much as it's going to help us, that's going to be stymied by other factors. So these are sort of things for debate. So that's where I think it's going in the next 2 to 4 years. Those are not the only things, but I think that's enough to start with today. And also today, we're going to have Antony. Antony's going to do a presentation. Antony, I don't know where he is. He's around somewhere.
Yep, I'm here.
So Antony, what you're going to present now to show you one of the current advances that people can use today.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show how it can use ChatGPT. And so for people who don't know, ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence language chatbot, which basically means you can talk to it as if you're talking to a friend, and you can ask it questions and it will give you answers. So I'm going to cover what we can use AI for on the internet. So there's already we've got a number of things. And we've actually been using AI for quite a long time. But now we're moving on to a next stage. So using AI makes the internet, how using AI makes the internet easier. First of all, it gives you personalized content recommendations. So if you've been on Amazon, Netflix, it will say, it will come up and say, you might want to watch this next, or other people who enjoyed this film also enjoyed X, Y, Z. Social media uses this heavily. Applications such as Facebook will analyze you, look at all the information that they have about you, and show you posts that will interest you. We also have natural language processing. When I first started using the internet and you wanted to do a search engine, so let's say I was searching for hotels in London, I would have to put hotel and the word and London, and then it would give me a whole list of things. Now I can use natural language, so I can say, give me a hotel in central London near Big Ben. And that's obviously made searching things much easier. In recent years, we've seen voice-activated assistants, such as Alexa, and they allow us to do things such as setting reminders, controlling home devices, conducting simple search queries, and that kind of stuff. But now we're coming on to the chatbots, and that is what ChatGPT is. So what I'm going to show today, hopefully, is how we can use ChatGPT to actually have a conversation. So what I'm going to do is I'm in the ChatGPT app on my iPhone. Unfortunately, this is upside down. I can't work out how to flip the image on my webcam. So what I'm going to do is, has anybody got a question they'd like to ask ChatGPT?
I was just thinking about asking a question which is a bit spurious, like what's the best coffee in London? And see what it comes up with. Rather than people using it to ask for a specific item, just to see. I mean, the first time I used it, I said, "What color is the sky?" Because that depends on a lot of variables, and it was interesting to see. You asked the same question 5 times, and it was interesting to see the different answers which came up.
Yeah. Well, let's do that then. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap on the little headphone icon. What is the best coffee in London?
In all honest, pwede may tikwina mangor o the coffee kuntab ang Humry. So just went ahead.
Were you able to hear that?
No.
It's right. It's come up with a load of rubbish in Welsh.
Well,
Let's try something else. Right.
you got the right language on, Antony.
What is the best coffee in London?
Oh, London has some fantastic coffee spots. One popular choice is Monmouth Coffee Company near Borough Market. Fancy trying that one out?
Yes.
Great
Was
choice.
that
Monmouth
what-
Coffee near Borough Market is known for its excellent brews. Enjoy your coffee adventure in London. Anything else you'd like to know or explore?
Where is it?
Why don't you ask it what it thinks the future of AI is?
Monmouth Coffee is praised for its high-quality beans and careful roasting process. The cozy atmosphere and knowledgeable staff also add to the overall coffee experience. Ready for a flavorful journey?
Where is it located?
Monmouth Coffee is nestled near Borough Market at 2 Park Street, London SE1 9AB. It's a vibrant spot to enjoy both coffee and the market atmosphere. Excited to check it out?
When is it open?
Monmouth Coffee near Borough Market is usually open Monday to Saturday from 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sundays from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Plan your visit accordingly. Anything else you'd like to know about your London coffee stop?
What is on the menu?
Monmouth Coffee offers a variety of single origin coffees and blends. From espresso to pour over, you'll find a range of options. They also have some pastries to pair with your coffee. Anything specific you're thinking of trying?
Do they have hot chocolate?
Number is
Yes,
It's a number
Monmouth
one.
Coffee does serve hot chocolate. It's a delightful choice if you're in the mood for something different. Would you like recommendations on anything else from their menu?
What are their prices like?
You want a 25, don't you?
Monmouth Coffee's prices are
No,
generally reasonable.
number
With a
7.
cup of
Number
coffee
7, yeah.
averaging around 2 to 3 pounds.
Thank you.
Prices may vary based on your choice of coffee and size. Planning your budget for a tasty coffee treat?
There we are. So you can see there, we've managed to have that conversation with her. And we've managed to find out where this place is located, the opening hours. She's given us some ideas on what's on the menu. And also, told us what the prices are. So that's just one of the ways that we can use a chatbot to do things. So somebody suggested we ask her what the future of AI was. So let's do that.
Am I on mute? Hello?
No, we can hear
you're on.
you.
You're on,
Yeah.
John.
Sorry, I just wanted to say something about that coffee thing. Is that, of course, that might be influenced in the future by sponsors, and so it could really skew the results depending on what you ask for.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be the problem with all of these things, is that where is it getting the information from? Is there any bias towards particular information? So that's why you've got to be careful, especially if it's things like political things. We've already saw during the US elections how Facebook was even politically opposed to certain people.
It's polarizing the elections, isn't it? It's doing that all over the world, and it's quite dangerous. But that's social media, and it's not even artificial intelligence.
Well, it is artificial intelligence, but it's the algorithms which power the social media, and how an algorithm works on something like Facebook is that, let's say, for example, you're interested. Well, let's take my dad, for example. We're getting a new car, we're getting a new Skoda. So he's been looking at the Skoda forum. He now gets loads and loads of adverts for Skoda because Facebook have picked up you're interested in sodas. So he's now getting all these adverts for sodas. He's also getting adverts for things like we buy your used car, you know, because the algorithm has obviously worked out that he's thinking of buying a new car. And now it's showing him things that interest somebody who's thinking of buying a new car. So the thing to remember with Facebook and all of social media is that they design it to keep you there. They want to keep you there as long as possible so that they can show you as many adverts as possible. So it pays for these algorithms to actually give you what you want or what it thinks you want.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, when websites came on stream, as you know, I used to do websites, and the first question any business ever asked me was, "How did you get to the top of Google?" And what was interesting was it wasn't the top of Google, which did help, but it was the first page of Google. Now on the chatbots, it's different, isn't it? How do I get to be the first conversation? It's not even the first page anymore. So I think ChatGPT is actually a non-profit making organization, allegedly. Obviously, they're making money, but it's going back in again. Whereas other ones are owned by vested interests. And Microsoft have a lot of money in ChatGPT, I know, but allegedly ChatGPT is actually a non-profit making charity. That's what it actually is. How do you influence the tops? You're quite right, Antony, and you're quite right, John. People will be working mad now to try and get to the top of the chatbot. Yes, that's absolutely going to happen. It's one of these ethical dilemmas, isn't it? That AI is going to already gives us. It's going to give us even more ethical dilemmas, I'm afraid. So yes.
It's how it's how the information is. Is the AI biased? Is it biased towards a towards a particular group, a particular product, a particular politics? You don't know that.
Yeah,
yes, interesting ethical dilemma.
The start of Google, I remember a popular thing was trying to get a search which returned naught of one searches, because that meant that nobody else had thought of the search yet. and it had created a new search based on what you asked it. So people were looking for it, and Google used this to build its database of searches. It was a brilliant accidental thing which happened between the public and Google, and it fired Google up. Sort of along those sort of thinking, you need the same sort of interaction to happen on ChatGPT for it to really fly. It's waiting for something like that to happen to generate some sort of competition in the community. And it's not any serious thing. It's just see if you can do it type of thing.
Where the chatbots are really good, we had one. Somebody came into our office yesterday. They wanted to buy a magnifier. Well, we can show them. We can show them a catalogue if you like. But one wanted a ×4, and there were all these different measures on there, and the receptionist didn't actually know. Well, why is that not this measure, and why is that? They're both ×4 magnifiers. What's the difference? So she wrote that in. What's this measure mean to that measure? And the answer was very simple. One's a round one, one's a rectangular one. and we just, actually, I didn't even know that, to be honest with you. It's very, very good at giving you clinical answers, to be fair, these chatbots. And scientific stuff is quite good. Very, very accurate, we're finding. But I think the problems are going to be in the more the commercial sector. And politics, we already know that you shouldn't trust a chatbot on anything to do with politics. We already know that. The makers do know that. So, right. Anything else you got for us, Antony, on that one? Any more questions for him?
Yeah, we'll take another one.
Oh, the AI question. Yes, Graham's question.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see if you back up what I said. Probably won't. So what's the future? The question, what's the future of artificial intelligence for sight loss, that type of thing?
Yeah, I'll ask it that. What is the future of artificial intelligence for people with sight loss?
The future looks promising. AI can enhance accessibility with things like advanced voice assistants and smart devices tailored for people with sight loss. How do you think it might impact daily life?
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, how will it impact
That's great to hear. In what way do you feel lucky regarding AI and accessibility?
What technologies what sort of products do you think we can see in the next 5 years?
We could see more advanced navigation apps, AI-powered personal assistants, and smart home devices specifically designed for accessibility. Innovations might make daily tasks even more user-friendly. What specific areas are you curious about?
Reading documents.
Absolutely. Future AI advancements may lead to improved document reading solutions, like enhanced text-to-speech technology and document summarization features. This could make accessing and understanding information more seamless. How do you currently handle document reading?
Can you recommend any apps now which are good for summarizing documents?
Certainly. Apps like SummarizeBot, Otter.a, and Instapaper are known for effective document summarization. They can help you quickly grasp the main points of lengthy content. Have you tried any of these before?
No.
Give them a shot when you get a chance. SummarizeBot is user-friendly, Otter.ai is great for meetings, and Instapaper is handy for articles. Let me know if you find one that suits your needs.
Interesting. One thing I do use is an app called Otter AI, and when I do the YouTube videos, I can put the audio into that, and it transcribes the audio, and then lets me produce subtitles rather than having to sit there typing out subtitles individually. So there's a bit of an example of, I mean, and Tim may wrote the Romans just like the AI do it.
Yeah, Antony, how did you set that up? Just loosely, without being too technical. So, what do you actually use to be able to get a voice-enabled phone?
It's just a standard ChatGPT app for the iPhone.
Right, that's it. And you just press the microphone button.
There's a little set of headphones down at the bottom.
Yes, on the bottom
right. It's very
I can see it now. I can see it now. Yes.
So there's a little pair of headphones down at the bottom. So there's the text there's a text box where I can type in the text message, which is down at the bottom of the screen.
Yes.
And then on the right-hand side, there is a little pair of headphones, and that goes into the speech feature.
Right. So it's basically just a direct app.
Yeah.
Antony, it's Vicky. Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
I can't remember which one of these, whether it was Be My AI or ChatGPT, both of which I've tried, but I've tried them without having voiceover on. And they basically, from recollection, put the text on the screen but didn't read it out. So I'm thinking for people with low vision who don't use a screen reader, how does that work with getting it read out?
So ChatGPT, that voice is built in. So I've not used a screen reader with that. I've used.
Oh, good to know.
I've used that. You'd obviously need to use a screen reader to find the little headphones and click on them. But yeah, you that would work. Now, what with Be My AI?
Because that's the one where I don't think, because I'm very used to when doing documents on seeing, I'm swapping apps now, seeing AI, you get the little play button at the bottom. So people who don't use a screen reader once they know where that play button is, it then just reads the whole document out. But I don't remember seeing that when I've used Be My AI, for instance, to do the same thing, put a document in there. I mean, I can ask it questions and stuff, but at the end of the day, without the screen reader on, I've not yet located a place where it will just read out for people.
Tim here, Vicky. I did try it using VoiceOver on the WhatsApp version of ChatGPT, because, by the way, you can get ChatGPT on WhatsApp just to see what it was like. You know,
how do you do that on WhatsApp?
Yeah, you go to the ChatGPT and it says, "Do you want to go on use it on WhatsApp?" And you just set it up with your phone. So I've got ChatGPT on WhatsApp. It doesn't work very well with VoiceOver, though, Vicky. It doesn't work very well with VoiceOver. I have to say, you can get it to work, but not easily. But if you have some sites, it's and you can press the speech button. You can actually dictate, but I wouldn't try it with VoiceOver because it's quite difficult. But yeah, no.
Okay, I might look into that because most of my clients don't use screen readers.
Yeah. WhatsApp, and then on the bottom right, what you have to do, as you probably know, you dictate what you want, but you keep the microphone button pressed down, and when you finish, you lift your thumb or your finger, and that's it. So it's quite, as long as you know where it's located, which is bottom right, of course. So yeah, it works quite well. An easy way to use ChatGPT on the move.
Right. Okay, I might try that. Sorry, I can't remember if you were saying something before that.
No.
Oh no, we were in Be My AI, but I think Antony's looking into that.
Yeah, he's looking at something now. Right. How are we doing for questions, folks? Anybody got any questions on anything really now? I know that John's gone. John's changed buses, I think. He's been watching on the bus. He's been on the move. Graham from Sight and Sound. Do you know of any reasonably new innovations we might expect? I know you might not be able to mention the brand name. I appreciate that. I don't know anything on this. Is there anything we might expect this calendar year? Some type of product that you know of?
That's difficult to answer, but I'll see what I can do. You know yourself, technology changes so quickly, and all of a sudden something comes out of the blue. Like Be My AI came out of the blue completely. I don't think anyone was massively expecting that. Certainly not Orcam or Envision. They were not expecting that at all. But that's a whole other conversation. To touch on something you mentioned earlier, actually, which I do know is coming. Well, it's a similar vein when you're talking about robots that would take you about and things like that. You can actually get apps that do that. They're being trialed just now. So they're not really robots. It is more AI apps on your phone. And there are some supermarkets that have signed up for it and some shopping centres. Like, for example, I'm sure it's Asda, Aldi, and there's another one I've completely forgotten, where if you're visually impaired or blind, you could go to Asda, for example, and say, "Take me to the sugar," and your phone will guide you to where the sugar is.
Ooh.
That would be remarkable. Are you allowed to say any names, or is it too under the radar?
No comment.
That's fine.
I'm part of the London Sight Loss Council, and we're doing a VI forum in London next month on shopping with sight loss. So that would be very exciting. So perhaps I can mention that something might be coming
There's
up.
multiple different ones. It's like any other technology. Usually 2 or 3 or 4 companies are all doing the same thing at the same time.
Yes.
A bit like Betamax and VHS. God, I'm dating myself there. But yeah, so I know that there are supermarkets, like I said, and other organisations that have signed up for it, so that there's a standard layout, or they have beacons set up in the shopping centre, which then feed information into the AI app. So again, if you're in, I was going to say the shopping centre near me, but none of you will know what that is. So any shopping centre, for example, you can say, "Take me to Boots," and then the app will then work with the beacons outside the shop to then direct you to where Boots is, or Top Shop, or whatever shop you want to go to. So
that would be amazing.
Some of that is active now. There's a company in Preston, and again, I won't mention their name just in case, but a company in Preston that does develop technology like that. There's more than a few, actually. So this is coming, or in some places it is active. So yeah, AI is it's changing the world right now, and it's just getting scarier and more exciting as in equal measures.
Yeah, that company in Preston, if anybody's in Kendal on April the 5th, I know Graham is, that company in Preston is coming to Future Vision in Kendal Town Hall. So if you want to see it in action, Vicky, get yourself to the Lake District.
I'd love to. Let me know the details. You never know. But it's very interesting, Graham. Sorry, just to butt in quickly. It's very interesting, Graham, because the only sort of navigation that I've thought about within shopping centres and things like that, of course, is things like Good Maps, Waymap potentially, and things like that, which are more navigation. But I hadn't even thought about doing it through AI. So that is because that's obviously more mapping and it's more physical, isn't it? Ish.
Yeah. And something else Tim mentioned earlier as well about the driverless cars. They are being tested in the UK right now. They are being used by the military in some bases just to transport staff around and things like that. So they are much closer than I think any of us expect. That's coming soon as well. Maybe not this year, but it's certainly in the very foreseeable future.
Yeah, they are being tested in the on the M6 in Cumbria because it's a good motorway because it's not overcrowded, you see. And we don't know where they're. We have a reasonable idea where they're testing it. Shap and T-Bay, by the way. And the public don't necessarily know. But the M6 is being used because it's not as full as other like the one that goes around London. They wouldn't dare test it there.
No.
But the M6 all the way to Scotland is quite a nice motorway, to be honest with you, all the way to Gretna.
When there's no roadworks, it's lovely.
I'd like to see them test it over hard not pass.
There. You go over the edge. Yeah.
I did see a video the other day as well, and it was I can't remember if the person was visually impaired or they were blind, but they were in an Uber in America, and there was no driver in the Uber, and it was taking them exactly to where they were going. And the person had their phone up. They were filming the driver's seat. They were sitting in the passenger seat, and there was no driver there at all. The steering wheel was moving, and the car was going around, and it was an Uber. And it wasn't a trial. These are getting used, so it is literally only a matter of time before we get it as well. And I don't know whether to be happy or terrified about being on the road now.
Yeah, the friend of somebody who's actually done a Future Vision for us. He Simon Moxon, he actually went to San Francisco and he learned that the American drivers of non-driverless cars have learned they can just pull in front of these driverless cars and they'll stop.
Yeah,
they just will stop.
That I heard is that people are actually starting to bully the driverless cars, because they know that the car is just going to stop. And how do you, in a way, you're going to have some way of preventing people from bullying these vehicles.
Bullying the driverless cars, I know. The human mind, terrible, isn't it? The way
I was just going to say that.
You have something remarkable, and you got these. I know what I'll do. I'll pull
There's
out.
always going to be a couple of. I won't say a rude word out there.
But, I mean, another thing that's potentially coming in again. Tim touched on it earlier with the Envision glasses, where they're just getting smarter and smarter and smarter. Where they'll have it's coming soon. We're at a passive mode where it will just tell people as they're walking, there's a table on your left, there's a chair on your right, there's people approaching, and it'll be able to guide you past things and around things and just map your environment as you're walking around. It can do it to a certain extent just now, but it's certainly going to only get smarter and smarter, and it will literally, you'll be able to tie it into navigation eventually, and just say, take me from A to B, and it will guide you there, avoiding obstacles, avoiding people, and just getting you there safely. Whether people trust it or not, I mean, it'll come with time. But that's where it's going. The AI will map out your environment and then guide you around it.
That would be remarkable and would encourage me to think about, because at the moment I'm not into the idea of wearables. But if that was the case, then exciting.
I mean, you could do it just now, but it takes multiple different devices to do it just now. Like, you would have a smart cane, for example, for the navigation, and the Envision for object detection, and the cane does that as well to a certain extent. So right now, you might need 2 or 3 different devices to do that, but you can do it now. You absolutely can do it now. But eventually, it will be one device, and it will be a tiny wee thing you might wear on your head or your shoulder, or maybe even your watch. Who knows where it will go? But it is possible.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, I should be waiting for the one thing, the one small thing.
It's interesting. Some of the, we've had a lot of app developers over the last 3 or 4 years here. And it's interesting. Some of that really good work they've done is possibly going to be swept away by other technologies. I don't know how this works for people like, I don't know, good maps and people like that. When you've got actually devices that just can get you there and also recognize objects at the same time. Do you need a map anymore? I don't know.
Well, maybe they need to take up a partnership then, because
yes, yeah,
they'll be missing out, won't they?
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. Like same with, if you remember, I don't know, 10 years ago maybe, when every car had a sat nav you would buy from Garmin or whatever, and then overnight, literally, they just died because everyone could use their mobile phone to do it. I think the same will happen for anything like your AI guidance. It'll be overnight. All of a sudden, everyone's just using it. It'll probably be a free app on your phone or something similar, and then the existing things like Good Maps or anything else will just, if they don't adapt, they'll just disappear overnight.
Yeah, I think you could be right, especially if it can be done more cost effectively.
Yeah, I think that what we're talking about, like today, which is January. I mean, last January we talked about completely different things. I don't know what we're going to be talking about next January, but there has been remarkable change since really September, October last year. The change has been phenomenal. I mean, you can really touch it, can't you? And feel the speed of it. A lot of it isn't quite on the market, but Be My Eyes was the game changer, because that became the free, accessible app that actually did what we wanted.
Yeah.
The one thing about Be My Eyes is actually, you have to use voiceover to read the text back, whereas Seeing AI just speaks. So put the two together, you got the best app, haven't you?
So it's brilliant for me. It's brilliant for me as a voiceover user, but not so much for people with low vision if they've got to actually read that text.
Sorry, Vicky, I was speaking over you there. I've just checked Seeing AI there, and yeah, you can ask, if you on the scanning documents, you can ask it questions now.
Oh, brilliant.
Good, I was right. Hooray, I did get it right.
It doesn't seem to be on the instant text, it just seems to be on the document channel. And it says here, after scanning a page, you can now ask Seeing AI questions about the contents.
Yeah, there you go.
Excellent.
Thank you. That's on the scanning one, you say? Okay.
I feel a
YouTube demonstration coming up.
I'll look at that later. Right, thank you.
It might be you need to update to the latest version of Seeing AI, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, how are we doing for questions, folks? We've got only about 2 or 3 minutes left. Anybody got any sort of fantasy questions? It doesn't really matter.
I'll tell you a quick story as well, if you've got time. I was at an event. It's not really sight loss related, but it is AI related. I was at an event at Glasgow University on Tuesday, and I was talking to some of the lecturers there, and they were saying that so again, for anyone on the call here who's been at uni or been at college and they've had to do assessments and big reports and things like that, they're now saying that any report they get from a student on average goes through 3 websites before it's submitted. The first one is ChatGPT to do all the work for them and write it all for them. It then goes through another one called Quillbot, which then rephrases it and paraphrases it all for them to make it sound even less like it's been done by AI. And then they go through a third one, which the name I've completely forgotten, but it helps with the presentation and the layout, again, to make it look less computer generated. So colleges and universities are now aware that the AI is now taking over how students are presenting and doing their coursework. So they're now having to try and adapt and change how they mark things, how they grade things, and what they do, because a lot of the work they get isn't done by the student. It's done by their research, but not done by the actual student themselves. There's even a chatbot you can get which runs anti-plagiarism software on it, so then it'll check all your documents to make sure it doesn't sound like anything else or even linked to any other document, so you can't be done for plagiarism. And I am so jealous that they never had this when I was at school or uni. But again, it's an example of how AI is completely changing the world.
Yeah. I think this is one of the dangers, is that we're going to get to a stage where we don't know what's being generated by people, humans, and what's being generated by AI. Because I did an experiment with I asked ChatGPT to write an article. Then I put this article, well, I basically copied the article, pasted it back into ChatGPT and said, was this written by an AI? And ChatGPT said, no. Even though it was ChatGPT that wrote it. And you think, if ChatGPT had even recognised what, if it had recognised that it wrote it, and I put it into another AI, I put it into Claude AI and asked it the same question, and it said, no, it doesn't appear to have been written by an AI.
Wow.
And it
lies.
And it was.
So was it lying? Oh my goodness. We'll have to go back to handwriting, won't we?
Yeah. Oh, what was that second app, Graham? ChatGPT, Quillbot.
Quillbot. So as in the feather pen, Quillbot. I think it's just one word.
Oh, right,
I cannot remember the name of the third one though. But the Quillbot does all that does anti-plagiarism as well. It's frightening. For anyone that's seen the movie Terminator, you know how this ends, don't you?
we do know how this ends, and it doesn't end well for us. It doesn't. There was a rumor that ChatGPT, when they had that fuss with I don't know if you heard about it, the head of ChatGPT left for 3 or 4 days or whatever. One of the rumors was they'd got to the point where the chatbot could take over. And they didn't know what to do with it, pull the plug or whatever. And when I say take over, ChatGPT the biggest threat to ChatGPT is the human being. And once it works that out, you can't stop it apparently. Yeah. So be warned.
They've started doing that with video games. So I'm not a video gamer myself, but so when you're online playing video games, rather than having a program in the background that's doing the environment for you that you're playing against as such, that you're now playing against AI, and it's becoming so good that folk can't win games. They just can't. They're just playing it and they're losing constantly. So developers are now starting to try and dumb down the AI so that people stay on the game and play and actually get some success. So it's progressing at such a rate that we can't keep up with it.
So anyway, we've got to. I think we're on them. We're on 11 o'clock now. So I think our conversations, this sort of group, we won't do AI every time, by the way, but I think we're going to have to do it quite regularly because the advances are quite swift. That's just a speculation, of course. But we're hearing new things every we've heard new things today. I've heard new things I didn't know about. And
Tim,
Vicky,
sorry, just one other thing. Copilot is now an app available, which works obviously in the same way.
Right.
It's another app that I have downloaded. I don't think I've tried it out. I probably did actually at the time. So obviously that works in the same way because I think that's the Microsoft one, isn't it? On Windows.
Right, I'm not sure.
But it is an app. I have downloaded it.
Now I think we're going to look very different in a year's time, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting as well to see. If the ethical issues will be the main thing, because what will stop a lot of the sight loss advances is ethics in recognition. Because the wider community, although the sight loss community would love to know, whose face is who, there are ethical issues around. We had this with Google Glass a few years ago, where people in America were basically getting punched in the face wearing Google glasses because the people didn't like their privacy being invaded. So, right, folks, we're going to have to go. It's gone 11 o'clock. So thanks very much for your contributions. I hope you enjoyed it.
Live Well and Future Vision. We hope you enjoyed this presentation. The Live Well events take place on the second Thursday of each month at 10 AM. Future Vision sessions take place on the fourth Thursday of each month at 10 AM and are technology events aimed at people living with sight loss. To attend the next session or to suggest future topics, please contact your local Sight Society who will be able to provide you with the Zoom link.